Hello everyone, welcome to my Call of Duty World War II Veteran Difficulty walkthrough. This is Mission 10, Ambush, and boy am I on a roll today. I played Mission 8, 9, and 10 today, and I'm about to record all three of them on the same day. And this mission is very short. And I imagine they're trying to take a very similar approach to Advanced Warfare, where I believe it's the second to last mission, or the third to last mission, where you get captured by Atlas? Yeah, and then the second last mission of Advanced Warfare was where you were actually inside that camp and you had to escape. And I think they're trying to take a similar approach to this, where Zussman is going to get captured by the Germans at the end of this mission, and I imagine in the next mission, which is the Rhine, we might be playing as Zussman? That's my assumption. I have no idea what that mission's going to entail. And then after the Rhine is Epilogue, and I have no idea what you're going to be doing in the Epilogue, but I wonder if there's going to be any combat or not. But let's not look so far ahead, shall we? And instead, let's focus on what's happening right now. This combat encounter is really well designed, and it's very easy. You just got to do exactly what I do, use the power positions that I used in order to deal with the enemies, approach this very slowly, and then when you get over to this spot right here, you'll want to rush all the way down. I don't know why I took reduced damage this time. There are some really weird instances on Veteran difficulty where you take reduced damage. I don't understand that at all. There hasn't been a single Call of Duty game where you take reduced damage on Veteran difficulty, but this game has a couple of exceptions, and I do not know what triggers them. But we now have a stealth section, which is really well designed. Although, for some reason, near the end of this stealth section, there's a guy that goes into an investigative status, and if you don't shoot him, he seems to always know where you are. And by the way, do not move as fast as I did just then, because you'll notice you saw the iron cross symbol nearly fill up. Well, it's because that guy who was on the left was coming very close to spotting me. So, take it nice and slowly, and you should be fine. And then, right here, you have an optional objective to kill this base commander, but I don't think it does anything because the optional objectives in Black Ops Cold War didn't really do anything. They just give you a side activity to do while you're in the mission that doesn't really do much aside from getting some records completed, I imagine. So I just chose not to do the same here, going off that knowledge. And this right here is a scripted double kill where when you kill this guy, Zussman will attack, and then this is where the strange guy appears. So I don't know why this guy goes into the investigative status, but he always goes in that direction, and you have to headshot him, otherwise he'll detect you. Get behind here, and then headshot this guy. And you'll want to grab whatever weapon this guy has. The weapons that the enemies have are randomized every time you restart the checkpoint, or when you restart the mission, I imagine. But you need to make sure you grab whatever weapon you get. Hopefully you get an SVT here. I don't think you can get an assault rifle from one of these guys. And you need this SVT later on when you're descending down this building and you're making your way through that large group of enemies. But before that point, we have a moment where we need to support Pearson by clearing out some enemies. And you're trying to get Pearson to go all the way to the left. And then when he pushes up for the very first time, there's going to be a moment where you have to shoot a truck driver that is trying to run away when Zussman tells you to. I don't know what happens if you miss out on this guy, but I think you failed the mission. I'm not too sure because there's a second truck that actually leaves the entire area, but it doesn't penalize me for not stopping it. But Zussman tells me to stop the guy, so I'm going to shoot him. And now I'm just going to once again clear out the enemies. There's going to be a moment where a couple of German officers will assume positions on the roof right over there. And there's only two of them. And don't think you're safe when you're up here because the guys that are down below can still shoot you. Like right there. I don't know who that was just then, but they are a great example of why you should still exert caution when you're trying to do sections that you really shouldn't be getting shot at. Because one of these enemies can randomly choose to shoot at you, and it's going to happen again. Only that guy, he had an MP40, I think, which is why his damage wasn't so high compared to the first hit, where I think the reason why I took so much damage was because the guy that shot at me probably had a rifle of some sort. But I always prioritize the Panzerschreck guys right here, and I think they're the ones that speed up the sequence. But eventually, Pearson's going to push up even more, and he's pushed up again, and this will cue this guy to spawn, only for some reason on my first attempt at this section, he didn't spawn there, so that's very odd. But he's destroyed the lead truck. Now we just need to move to the next position, and this is where your SVT is going to come in handy. You'll want to replace your silenced M1911 with the SVT, like I mentioned before, because I'm going to be doing some very baller strategies for this sequence right here. I'm going to kill this first guy because he almost always drops an MP40, and I'm just going to rush right through the section. If I end up taking damage, I'm going to heal here, and that right there may seem like a very early heal, but that was for a good reason, because I knew one of those enemies would damage me, and I had to counteract that by healing as early as possible, and somehow I did a heroic action when there was no one being attacked by a German soldier, or any soldier where I had to save them. But for some reason, in the results screen, it didn't count that as a heroic action, even though it clearly said I did it. So I don't know what that's about. But this part right here, you've got to use a lot of smoke grenades, and try to also use your grenades here, because the smoke grenades are so inconsistent, and there's a lot of enemies setting up in front of this entranceway. And I need to use a lot of healing items to ensure I stay alive. But this is my chance to push up. None of the enemies are able to hit me just then, and the enemies will despawn. And now that you're up here, you need to repeat the exact same thing again, where you need to defend Pearson, and considering that it's exactly the same, and I don't really take damage during the sequence that much, I'm just going to speed up the video by about 2 times speed. And then eventually, I'm just going to speed up the moment where you're supposed to wait for the tank to spawn and shoot you, and you have to actually get damaged by the tank in order to progress with the sequence, by about 4 times speed. And then once you're done this sequence, you'll have to do a jeep section where you need to chase down this lorry that has abducted Zussman, and then you'll be forced out of the jeep, then you'll need to do a quick time event, and then that will conclude the mission. And I'm just wondering what the next mission is going to be like, because at the end of this mission, we see a couple of cutscenes that shows that Daniels was discharged from the military, and he's inside of a hospital bed, and he has that pendant that Zussman has, and it repeats the whole line of "to the end" and "to the end," and it makes it seem like that Daniels is returning, only for some reason they show a cutscene where he actually returns home and he reunites with Paul. So was that a fake moment? Or did that actually happen? I'm not too sure about that. And then Zussman gets captured by the Germans and he's taken to a concentration camp because he's Jewish. So will we be playing as him for a certain section of that mission? And then also with Pearson, I mean, the game has put a lot of emphasis on Pearson's rivalry with Turner, and now that he's dead, Pearson's darker side is showing, and he seems like he's becoming a main antagonist, and this game doesn't really have any main antagonists, but so far I've really been feeling like Pearson is a main antagonist. So that will be very interesting to see what they actually do with the next mission. And I'm just wondering if this next mission is going to be as short as Black Ops Cold War's final mission on the good ending, because that was practically speedrunner territory with how short it was. And if that is the case, that's going to be very predictable, but it might be fun at the same time. And this right here is the end of the Jeep sequence. This is the end of this mission. Stay tuned for the future missions. Thank you all for watching, and you take care now.